Hey guys, it's Elizabeth. I am so excited to be here. It feels like it's been 100 million years and there's so much going on chat already. I'm here with Chella, Foodie turned Sleevie.
Hi.
We're so excited to have you here. Do you want to just really quickly, before I get into all the administrative stuff, do you want to just give everybody a quick update of who you are?
Sure. Hi guys. So I was just looking in the chat and it looks like a lot of the old friends are here, which I'm really excited about. So I think a lot of you might already know my spiel, but I can probably recite it in my sleep. I had vertical sleeve gastrectomy on October 20th, 2016 in Morristown, New Jersey at Morristown Medical Center. But I'm from New Orleans. I moved to New Jersey about 2.5 years ago. I'm 5'8". My high weight, starting weight, day of surgery was 265. 31 years old. And last month I was 165, so 100 pounds down. Now I'm 169, but I'm kind of in maintenance, you know. I feel like I'm still a little baby figuring things out. So here I am.
Well, so happy to have you here. So happy to be back. I have missed you guys so much. The last show we did was with Esther, VSG Trek, who I have missed. She's been recovering. She says she's alive.
I know. I love Esther.
But that was last time I was here, and that was months ago, I think. So I'm going to try to do a show every month, but I just want to really quickly touch on who's here in chat because I'm so excited to see everybody. VSG Tanya is here.
Hi.
Did you just meet her in New Orleans, or you had met her before?
So I met her at WLSFA in Portland, I guess in like May or whatever that was. Yeah. But we only kind of talked in passing, and I go to New Orleans all the time. So the last time I was there in November, we met up. We had lunch with Kirk because he was in town just by coincidence, which was really nice. And then during that same trip, we were both at the Louisiana Renaissance Fair. So we met up again there.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Losing It For Me 42 is here, who I think you also met in person.
Yes. She lives not too far from me. She's in New York State, not New York City, but about an hour away. So yeah, I've met up with her a couple times.
Awesome. Cindy VSG, have you met her?
Yes, she lives in New York City, so pretty nearby. Oh, and she was my roommate for WLSFA. She and Michelle from Hello VSG 2016. So I really, sorry to interrupt, but I love meeting people from the community. And like whenever anybody is nearby, I'm like, oh yeah, that's only 5 hours away. I'm on my way. Let's hang out. Let's have lunch. You know, like I love meeting people from the community.
And I'm sorry I didn't get to meet you when I was there. I wish I would have, but I didn't travel far from where I was.
Oh, yeah.
But I will be, I mean, I'm sure I'm going to be back at least, go to New York at least once to see my son in the next couple months. So hopefully I will get to meet you then.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Rob's Berry Life, who I know, Rob, what's your Instagram? Because I know you're on Instagram and I can't remember what it is. She's here. Sleeved After 60. Monica is here. Have you met Monica?
I have not, but I wish I had. It feels like I have. But I think... oh no, I take it back. She went to OH and I didn't go to OH, but maybe we'll meet up someday.
Yeah, I met her at OH. Watch Kitty Shrink is here. Smiling Shrinking is here. Jill Norton is here. Oh, Foodie turned Sleevie's here. That's awesome.
Me.
Good thing. Asta Silo Imas, I know I'm saying that wrong, is here. My VSG Confessional, who, oh my God, I was looking at your Instagram the other day. You look amazing.
Oh my God, she's phenomenal. She's like hashtag goals. Oh my God.
Yeah. Esther's here. Lindy Broussard is here. I haven't seen her in a long time. Joby Red Petty Girl. Oh, everybody's here.
Yay.
Divine Diva. Judy's Losing It. K-Ray On Her Way, who I did meet when I was in New Hampshire, is here. Let's see. I think I hit everybody. If I didn't, I'm sorry. I will come back to that. You guys can post questions there, but it may take me a minute to go back and forth because I don't multitask that well. Honestly, the best way, everybody makes fun of me for giving my phone number out on the internet, but the best way, if you have a question that you want to ask, is to text it to me. Which my phone number is 714-625-5663. And no one on YouTube has ever abused that number. So feel free to send questions there. We had a few on Instagram. And actually, let's get started. I'm going to do community celebrations a little later because people don't want to just listen to me talk. So first of all, do you want to tell, I watched your one of your first videos today on why you decided to get VSG, and you gave such a great and detailed history of sort of your experience with weight. and what got you to that point. Can you kind of give us the Cliff Notes version of that?
Yeah. I haven't watched that video in a long time, so I don't remember what I said, but in December of 2015, I was diagnosed as diabetic, and I was 29 years old. And that was basically the moment. Okay. I had been like overweight my whole life, but that was the moment I was like, this is beyond diets. This is beyond, I'm just a cute fat girl. Like, I have to change my life right now. This is not good. So that was kind of the impetus for me to actually have the surgery. But before that, yeah, I had tried every diet. I mean, I started on Weight Watchers when I was like 8 years old. My mom was always on Weight Watchers. And so we were very much a Weight Watchers household. And my dad was diagnosed as diabetic when I was pretty young. So everything in our house was always like sugar-free, fat-free, low-fat, the whole thing that was popular in the 80s and the 90s. And so I just grew up like on a diet. And so I did Weight Watchers. I did Sugar Busters. I did Zone Perfect. I did Plexus Slim, everything. And with moderate success, I would lose like 20 to 30 pounds. And after like 3 or 4 months, give up on it completely and gain it back and more. So, I feel like that's kind of all of us. And when like I said, when I got that diagnosis, that was a real wake up call for me that like, you can't just keep living your life like this, especially being only 29, because it's type 2 diabetes, obviously. Right. So the kind that like old people get, except I was 29. And yeah, so I met with an endocrinologist, and she was like, look, if you ever plan to have children, this is going to cause a lot of complications. This could cause complications during pregnancy. This will make things just much more difficult your whole life. And that was just really heartbreaking for me. And so, I knew that something had to change. So I was finally a candidate for surgery at that point, because I'd looked at it a few years before, and because I didn't have any comorbidities before that, I didn't qualify for my insurance. So after that, I did. And
you were really physically active before you had surgery as well.
Yeah,
right? You were, I listened today, I was like, you were an aerobic instructor. I kind of felt the same way I did as when I found out Patty was a Jenny Craig counselor when I heard that. So
yeah, I was. I've always enjoyed working out, which I realize is like a huge blessing, because I think that some people just like working out and some people just don't. And they think that that's going to change after surgery, and it might get easier, but you might still hate it. And I think it's a matter of like finding the thing that you enjoy doing. Like I've mentioned, I like hate running, even though it's like physically not that hard anymore. I still like hate it. And if that were like the only exercise I ever tried, I would probably think I hated exercise, But yeah, so again, back to my mom and her Weight Watchers in the like 80s and 90s, she was really into step aerobics, and I started doing step aerobics when I was like 8 with her. And I loved it. It's so much fun for me. I think it's just so much fun. And I became an aerobics instructor in college. So my sophomore year in 2005. And I got like nationally certified, and I taught everything: step, spinning, all kinds of weight classes, butts and guts, that sort of thing. I was teaching like 8 to 10 classes a week from 2005 to like 2011. And I was like super overweight, which is so crazy. Like, I realize now I was very much in denial about my weight, because it didn't really hinder me the way some people are like, oh, I like never left the house. I didn't do all these things. Like I did everything like a normal person. And I didn't realize how big I was. And I can't even imagine, like in hindsight, I've talked about this in my videos. I'm like retroactively really embarrassed of how fat I was. But like, I can't imagine what people would think if they came to a step class and the instructor was fat as shit. Like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing. But like,
I don't know. I think maybe that might be encouraging to some of the people who were showing up. I mean, it wasn't like you were that and couldn't do it. I mean, I would think maybe if I was going into a step aerobic class for the first time and had somebody who didn't weigh 12 pounds, it might make me a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah. My classes were always really popular, and I like took a lot of pride in that, and that my classes were like always full. We kind of always had to turn people away due to like the room capacity. And,
I would think I don't think I would be embarrassed that if I were you. What did people think?
I can't imagine what people thought. Yeah,
Well, they thought they wanted to take your class if you had to turn people away. I think that's what they thought. Yeah. Watch Kitty Shrink said she would love to do a step class with you. I think you and Tanya should, next time you're in New Orleans, you and Tanya should do a step aerobics class.
Yes, absolutely want to. It looks like, so step aerobics is kind of like a dying art. A lot of gyms like don't even have it.
Oh, mine does, and my friend actually teaches it. I like it. I haven't been in a while. Yeah, I like it.
That's awesome. I feel like it's kind of hard to find gyms that even have step nowadays. So many other things have become popular, Zumba and body pump, and I don't know, like step. I think like people think of like the 80s, you know, and it doesn't have to be. It can be a lot of fun. So I've seen some videos from Tanya's classes, and they look really awesome. Yeah, I definitely want to go with her.
My VSG confessional says they were probably full because you're awesome.
Oh, so shucks, girl.
So it sounds like, how do you feel like your weight impacted you, or did it, as you were growing up? Because you're still pretty young. And Esther noted that you said old people when you talked about diabetes, and I'll throw that in too. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, my dad was diagnosed when he was like 65.
Did I say Esther? Yeah. Did I say Esther? I meant Monica. Who looks like she's 30, but anyway. Monica, wore a cat suit at Obesity Health and wore.
Oh my God, I know, she looked amazing. Amazing. No, my dad was diagnosed when he was like 65. So in my mind, I was like, oh, I have until I'm 65 before I even have to think about that. You know, like in my mind, it was like, I've got tons of time. But your question was, how did it affect me growing up? I feel like that's a really hard, it's hard to like separate out what parts of my personality were impacted by my weight, but a lot of things came together such that I was always like the odd duck. I was an only child. My parents are both Mexican. I grew up speaking Spanish at home. And I was overweight, and I was like really nerdy and geeky, and like I loved to read, and I loved school. Like I was the one kid that loved school, and I would hang out with like the teachers and the librarian at recess. And yeah, I mean, it's hard to separate out. Was that because I was fat? Maybe, you know, maybe because.
Yeah, I don't know necessarily. I mean, I don't know, because I think there are just a certain group of kids who kind of do that.
Yeah.
Whether they're fat or not.
Exactly. But maybe because I knew in my mind, I thought I was never going to be pretty. I thought, okay, well, I'm going to be good at something else. I'm going to like be really good at academics, or I'm going to be really good at, you know, math or whatever. And I think on some level I was compensating. But I don't know, because later, for the last 2 years of high school, I went to a boarding school for like academically gifted kids or whatever. So like I was surrounded by kids who were all like me, and I loved it. And I don't think I really changed much, you know, like my weight, I was still very overweight, and I was still like, but at that point I was like surrounded by my tribe, my people, and my personality didn't change. So, but maybe by that point it was already established. I don't know. But I think being the one really fat kid was part of many things that made me different always. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of embraced that, I guess.
And what made you decide to do VSG after you got this diagnosis?
You mean as opposed to other surgeries, or
as surgery as the option, and also as opposed to other surgeries?
Surgery, because I knew I needed help. I knew that diet alone wasn't going to work for me, because I tried that 1,000 times. In fact, I had a 6-month requirement, you know, with my insurance, and but I wasn't required to lose a certain amount of weight. I just had to meet with a nutritionist for 6 months, and in the first like 2 or 3 months, I lost 20 pounds. And then after that, I gained it back, like right before my surgery, I gained it back and more. It kind of like proving to them, like, I need this, like diet isn't going to help.
Didn't you resolve your diabetes before you actually had surgery? But you did, and then you.
No, after surgery, like immediate, like leaving the hospital, they told me you don't need medication anymore. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But as opposed to other surgeries, I honestly did not even really consider many of the others. I had a couple coworkers who had VSG, and so I was familiar with it. I went to the information sessions, and meeting with the surgeon based on my height and the amount of weight I needed to lose, he said that was a good option. And just kind of in passing, he said that the other surgeries were for people who needed to lose more, and I just left it at that. So I honestly like didn't do a whole lot of research, and I probably should have, but I'm really happy with the VSG.
What was the reaction from your husband, your family about you getting surgery?
Super supportive. My mom has always been on board. In fact, she was the one. So we looked at having the surgery back in like 2013 maybe, and I didn't meet the requirements. So I would have had to pay out of pocket. But ever since then, she encouraged me to continue looking into it, because I think she had always seen my struggles. She had always seen how hard weight loss had been and how much it affected me. And I think, so my dad passed away when I was 18. And I think she, having witnessed the death of a loved one related to health and weight in general, probably foresaw, future problems for me she probably had a better understanding of that than I did. So she very much always encouraged me to do whatever was necessary to get healthy as fast as possible. And my husband, it was super supportive as well. He's very much in favor of, people getting the help they need for whatever problem it is. So like illness, if you need medication, if you need therapy, if you need counseling, if you need surgery, do it. There's no reason to like suffer through things. And, that's very much been applied to my process here. So super supportive.
Cool. Okay, I'm going to break now, and you can catch up a little bit on the chat while I do some community celebrations. So I was surprised we had so few community celebrations, but it's probably because I hardly ever post on my weight loss surgery Facebook now, so I probably didn't show up anybody's feed. But I will say the ones that we got, and I will say the ones that I know from hanging around the community. But Alana LaRue hit a normal BMI, although she thinks BMI is bullshit measure of a healthy individual. So congratulations to her. I met her at Obesity Help. Did you room with her, or you met her at WLSFA in Portland?
I did not room with her, but I met her, yeah.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I love her.
Shauna Elliott has lost 105 pounds, 65 since her revision to RNY in June. Wow.
That's awesome.
Sarah, my friend Sarah Harrison Robinson had a beautiful little baby, Edie. And she sends us, I have a hashtag Daily Edie. She sends us pictures every day of her beautiful baby. So she survived birth number 2. I think she meant to say all natural with no drugs, but she wrote all nautical with no drugs. So maybe she and Ed were sailing while they had. Robin, who is Phaedra, Phaedra, I think on YouTube, I don't know if she wants me to use her last name. So started a great new job in mid-November. Yay. Catherine Dodson, whose sister, do you know her? Have you met her? She's in New York
I haven't.
City.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she is. You should. She's not. I'll connect you guys because I don't. Do you do Facebook? Do you do? WS
I don't do
Facebook?
like a weight. Okay. No, I don't do a weight loss Facebook. Just Instagram.
And she doesn't do Instagram, I don't think. Catherine Dodson, whose sister Scaleback, she moved to the Alberta Rockies, and her husband, who also had weight loss surgery, is mountain climbing. Best NSV ever. Just call him Grizzly Adams.
That's awesome.
Esther says she's alive, and we'll leave it at that. We are so happy you're alive. I have missed you so much. Nikki Gets Fit. It's her 5-year surgery. Her 5-year surgery was on December 19th. She's working on reaching her ultimate goal of 125 pounds.
She looks amazing.
I think since Naked Truth's been on, Caitlin also had a baby. I'm thinking about asking her and Sarah if they want to do next month's Naked Truth and talk about pregnancy after weight loss surgery. Yeah. We had a lot of surgiversaries. My friend Amy, I don't know, she keeps changing her name. Amy Gets a VSG. Watch Amy run. Amy Gets a 360. Whatever. Amy, she had her 3-year surgiversary, I guess. Joelle, Blushing Blonde, had her 2-year surgiversary and is going to London. Is going to be staying with Alana, which I thought was very cool.
I'm so jealous. It sounds like so much fun.
Me too. Let's see. What else has been going on? Can you think of things that have been going on with people? I know I'm forgetting everything. Oh, for those of you who know Hope, VSG Hope, she was more active on YouTube. She had her surgery before I did, but she had struggled with a lot of infertility. They lost their house in the Texas hurricane, and she's pregnant now. So that's super exciting. I love it when that happens. Nirvana. So many people have surgery because of fertility problems. So when they get pregnant, I get super excited. Nirvana had a revision a few weeks ago, and then I think I saw that she broke her ankle. I don't know. I'm a little bit out of the loop that she was exercising and broke her ankle, which really sucks. What else? Can you think of anything else?
Speaking of babies, I don't know if you follow Tasha from VSG for Baby B, but she was on YouTube and Instagram, and she kind of fell off for a while, and it was because she was pregnant and then had her baby. So she had, I think, struggled with infertility, and recently had a healthy baby boy. And she just posted a video of like, ask me questions. She's going to do a Q&A on YouTube. So VSG for Baby B. She lives really near Jess from Watch Kitty Shrink. They both, I think, live in Pikeville, Kentucky. So it's a small world.
It is. Amy just texted me today that somebody who's on Instagram lives in her neighborhood, and she lives in a small area. So I was just going to Instagram to see the questions, and I saw a picture of Tanya with tape over her face. What's up with that? I know why you have tape on your face. Let me get to a couple of the questions that we had on Instagram. Watch Kitty Shrink says, you're only allowed to give 3 pieces of advice to someone in the first stages of pre-op. What's the advice that you give?
Okay. I'm so bad at this. Pre-op. I don't know. I always feel like I'm not qualified to give anybody advice. All I can tell you is like what my experience was, and talk to your surgeon. And I don't know. I get nervous when people
that's her disclaimer. We both have a disclaimer. It's our experience only.
Right. But what I do always feel like for myself is I did not need all those food funerals. Like I said, right before surgery, I like gained 30 pounds, whereas most people like lose 30, 50, 60 pounds before their surgery. I did not. And I wish I had. So you don't need all those food funerals. I very much thought there were going to be certain foods I was literally never going to be able to put in my mouth again. And that's obviously
me too. I thought that too. It wasn't true. And I just have to really quickly, Tanya says she was trying mouth taping for better sleep. She hates waking up with dry mouth. I had not heard of that. Okay. Sorry.
Well, I just heard about it. She probably heard about it from the kids at Keto Connect. They just talked about that in one of their videos, and I had never heard of it either. But apparently, if you it sounds ridiculous, but if you tape your mouth shut, then apparently you stay more moisturized or something. I don't know.
Tanya, let us know. Sense. All right, Tanya, let us know how that goes. Okay. Anyway, that was one piece of advice. 2 more pieces.
I think getting into the physical habits of waiting the 30 minutes before eating to drink and then 30 minutes after, I still struggle with that to this day. And so I think just practicing that in advance really helps. And as far as being well prepared for surgery, I think it's really good to have a wide variety of choices in terms of like, the yogurts and the shakes and things like that to try beforehand, because I'm very much a planner, and I went out and bought like all the things before surgery and just to make sure I had something I liked. Yeah. But I feel like some people don't. And I'm like, what are you doing? And then they're post-op and they're like, what protein drink should I have? I'm like, how did you not think of that? So, I
carried a case of Isopure around in my car for because it was so nasty, and they said I had to have it. It was so nasty, and I ended up, when I traded my car in and got a new car, I gave it to the car salesman. He was like a bodybuilder. I was like, hey, do you want this Isopure? It's like $50 worth of Isopure. That's so good advice. So Kay Ray on her way, who like I said, I met in New Hampshire. She wants to know, do you field a lot of questions about your weight loss from your friends and family? Because I live in New Jersey, I'm not near a lot of people who knew me beforehand. I moved here about 2.5 years ago, and I got a new job like 3 months before my surgery. So in terms of coworkers, they kind of all met me right at the beginning and weren't used to seeing me the way I was before, I think. So not a lot from my coworkers. This is going to sound really lame, but I don't really have a lot of friends in New Jersey. So, no problems there. But as far as like friends back home, when I do go to New Orleans and stuff, I think people who really knew me knew that weight was a
big issue for me and have been very good about just not mentioning it. And I think that's safer than talking about it. I don't know.
Well, I liked what you said in this last video you just did, that you were in New Orleans and, you know, it really wasn't conversation, but one of your friend's moms mentioned that you had lost weight, and she said she did too, or whatever you said. It was like a normal interaction that women have. And that really stuck out with me because I felt like for so long, I never had those kind of normal interactions with people. And it's actually okay and kind of nice to be part of that woman club, sort of. That's how I kind of feel about it.
Yeah, exactly. And if people do say like, oh, you've lost weight or you look good or whatever, like my husband's family, for example, I saw them at Christmas and I kind of hadn't seen most of them since the previous Christmas. So the previous Christmas I was newly post-op, and this time I looked very different. I just said like, yeah, I've been working really hard, and I try to just make it like a normal thing, because ultimately a lot of people, whether they have surgery or not, you know, are trying to lose weight, and some people do. And I think, I don't know, I think visually it's hard to tell if it's been like 50 pounds or 100, you know what I mean? Like, I think people just see like, oh, you've lost weight and that's great and that's it. So either that or they were all just being really nice to me. I don't know. But nobody has been like, no one has like really grilled me.
Now, are you in the closet about your surgery?
Yes. Yeah. So the only people who really know are like my husband and my mom and you guys.
And all of the internet. No.
Right. Yeah.
So why did you make that decision? Because it's none of their damn business, but
yeah, basically. Yeah. I had two coworkers who had VSG a couple years before me, and at that point I worked in retail, so a very different environment. Like right now I work in a very like corporate environment where people probably wouldn't talk about that anyway, but I worked in retail and it was so catty and so mean, and everybody, like after these two people had surgery like almost back to back, and everybody just like talked about how lazy they were and like all the things that we as patients are afraid people will say. People said them, and I heard it, and it was awful. Like it like traumatized me. People were talking about how lazy they were, how they didn't really need the surgery, how if they just tried to diet, they would lose the weight. And like, and then after the surgery, everybody was like scrutinizing what they ate. And it was terrible, like really nasty. And I just never wanted to expose myself to that. And like I said, the environment I'm in now, that probably wouldn't happen anyway, but I just, no thanks. It's none of their business.
Right. K-Ray says, we all know you love exercise. What's your absolute favorite way to burn calories?
Probably a step class, although I also really love swimming. I was a competitive swimmer when I was a kid. So like from 9 to 16, basically. And, swimming like almost doesn't even feel like exercise to me. It's just like a fun thing to do. And I've only recently started swimming again. I found a gym that has a pool, and I like bought a cap, and I like bought a bathing suit and stuff. And that's a lot of fun, but I don't do it as much because then you have to wash your hair, and it's like, it's such a thing, you know? So, and now that it's been really cold in New Jersey, I definitely haven't gone, but, once it warms up again, I do plan to go back to swimming, like at least on the weekends. But that's something that honestly, like I forget about because it doesn't even feel like exercise. It's just fun. But in terms of exercise, I really love, step aerobics and body pump classes.
And you, I hear, set a pretty ambitious and really exciting goal. I don't know why I hadn't heard of anybody doing that, but it got me thinking. So you set a pretty impressive physical goal. Do you want to tell people about that?
Yeah. So I'm planning to do a half triathlon by the end of this year. So I kind of just picked that out of the blue because it sounds crazy to me. It sounds like basically impossible. And
those are the ones that are I mean, it sounds impossible to me that I lost 200 pounds.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are the most fun ones to achieve. And it's like, once you do this, you really can do pretty much anything.
Yeah, exactly. And so I had, from like the moment I had my surgery, I decided that was going to be like my ultimate pie in the sky thing. But I also decided that I wasn't even going to start working on it until I reached goal. So like I kind of gave myself some time, you know, right. But now that time has come. And so now I'm actively like training for it. And it's a half triathlon. I have to say, like, it's not the full thing.
So I know how much that is for running, but how much is it for swimming and biking?
So it's 70 miles total, and I don't know the breakdown, okay. But it's a long swim and a long bike. But those two things, like swimming and biking, I feel like I'm okay with those. So really, it's the running that I'm like kind of dreading. But
Monica's a former triathlete. She did her first one at 50.
Yeah, I know. She actually sent me some stuff. She sent me a couple books, and she sent me some of her old gear, and that was just amazing. It made it really real for me. Like, oh shit, this is happening.
Yeah, I have to do it. But so you're signing up for one when? It's like
September.
An Ironman?
Yeah, it's an Ironman half triathlon in Atlantic City, and it is September 23rd. So right before my 2-year surge anniversary. So I feel like the timing is going to line up, and I'm going to feel really great. And if I do it, I will do it, but like if I don't die, I'll feel great.
You probably will feel like you died the next day, but
yeah, right. Plus, it's on a Sunday. Like, why do they do that? I don't even know.
Yeah,
like,
that's crazy.
I'm gonna need some time off after that.
Yeah, you'll have to take a couple days off. So I do also, for all you guys, for people who are watching who aren't on chat, it's kind of hysterical when people are going on and on. A lot of them are talking about taping their husband's mouth shut. Because they start talking about the mouth taping. K-Ray has one more. I have 2 more online questions, then I'll go back to mine. But K-Ray also says she really likes the 60-second interviews. Where did you come up with that idea?
Okay, I have to admit, I did not make that up myself. There's a really great, it's like gosh, I don't even know what to call it, a brand, I guess. It's called Makers, and it's a feminism brand.
Yeah, I'm going to their conference next week.
Oh, well, there you go. So this comes from them. If you Google Maker's Minute, Maker's Minute is the 60-second interviews that they've done with like important feminist figures, and it's really cool because they've done like everything from celebrities to athletes to politicians, and it's the same style, right? It's 60 seconds and just some kind of rapid fire questions. So the the company that I work for actually owns Makers. And they do this 60-second interviews internally as well for like executives. And,
okay, well, that's interesting. I didn't know they own Makers. Okay, we need to have a conversation offline.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So so they do these 60-second interviews with executives, and they like post them internally, and people like love them. And I think they're a lot of fun. I mean, I'm one of them. Like, I think they're so much fun. So the kids from Keto Connect were coming to a meetup in New York, and I was like so nervous to meet them. And I thought it would be fun to do one of those with them instead of like a full on interview, because I didn't think they'd have the time or whatever. So I thought that'd be fun, and people seem to like them. And whenever I meet people from the community, I'm like, let's just do one of these and throw them up on the channel. So, if I happen to meet somebody, I record, and nobody has said no so far. So I've got a bunch, and it's been fun.
That's awesome. And then we had one question from Lori, who she texted me this. And Lori, you live nearby because you have an 818 area code. Lori, it's the first time she's watched the channel, and she has a question about what protein shakes you suggest.
I personally really like Premier. Every single day I have a Premier with a cup of coffee, and it's like the perfect kind of sweetener. I do either chocolate, vanilla, or caramel. And typically with just like plain coffee if I'm at work, because that's all I have. But if I'm at home, I'll do like a flavored K-cup, and then like mix and match flavors, and that's really good too. So like today I did a chocolate peanut butter K-cup with chocolate Premier, and it was amazing.
That sounds really good.
Yeah, yeah.
I like the banana ones, which you can't mix with.
No, yeah, I've done banana
coffee,
and strawberry.
they're really good.
But not good for coffee.
Yeah. Okay, so now I just totally lost my train of thought because I switched from one mode of communication to the other. So Foodie turned Sleevie. How did you come up with that name? And I'm assuming that means that you really loved great food beforehand.
Yes. Oh, and there's my kid.
And how do you translate it into your post-weight loss surgery life?
Yeah, so I was and continue to be a foodie. I love good food, and at some point in my life, I realized that not everybody who was overweight loved good food. Isn't that weird? Like,
it's so weird.
Like some people just eat whatever, not me. Like I was all about like intricate flavor combinations and like, you know, interesting things. And I was afraid when I had surgery, like I said, I was very afraid that there were going to be a lot of foods I was never going to have again. So when I was thinking of this name, I thought I was going to be like formerly a foodie and then like turned into a sleeve patient. So that was like the name. But thankfully, I have discovered that I can still eat basically anything, just in moderation. So I am definitely still a foodie, which is great. And I was also afraid that I wouldn't enjoy food as much, or like that foods just like wouldn't taste the same. And that hasn't happened to me at all.
I still enjoy it more because I think I'm a little more selective.
Yeah, exactly. Same. I definitely still love food, love eating, love good food, you know.
So what's the food plan that you found working for you post-op?
So I don't like to say the K word.
Why? No, why don't you like to say the K word?
I don't like to say I follow the keto diet because it's not the standard keto diet. And I just say I'm in a low carb diet, and Tanya's always like, well, you're probably in ketosis. And I guess I probably am, but I don't do high fat. And I think, you know, many people will tell you, you don't need to do high fat to do a keto diet. And so then it's like a modified keto diet, blah, blah. I don't like to have to explain all that.
It doesn't really matter what, I guess it doesn't really matter, you know, what it's called, but.
Yeah, exactly. So like, if I say keto, people have these ideas of like certain ratios of like fat and protein and carbs. And I don't follow that. I do low carb, relatively high protein, and moderate fat.
Okay. And then you talked about some things in your video this last week that I thought were really great about listening to your body and mindful. And this, like, where in that silly Dr. B interview, we got off track so fast because of the idea about hunger. But you talked a little bit about that in your video update. Do you want to talk about that here?
Yeah. So before surgery, I only was aware of like super hungry and super full as like states of being, and never anything in between. And throughout these 15 months, I have tried to learn what it's like to not be hungry but not be full. And I had never in my life experienced that before. I very much, before surgery, if I was hungry, I would eat to like bursting and then eat some more and then wait for it to pass, you know, until I was hungry again. So this idea of eating until you're satisfied is still new to me. I'm still learning what that feels like. But I like it. I like feeling nourished. And I feel like when I was pre-op, all of these words sounded so cliche, like listen to your body and just like follow the sunshine and like rainbows and, you know, like, what are you talking about? But now that I'm post-op, it makes sense. And I can't explain it other than like, once you get there and you start living it, but like, it feels good to put like good nutrition in your body. Yeah. And like feel energized and well-fueled. And there's a difference between feeling satiated and full. And I had never felt that before. And I'm loving that now. And it's still very new to me. But I try to find that sweet spot. And it's still hard for me to recognize, because you know how they always say, like, it takes 20 minutes after you eat before you really feel it. And I think that's still true. So it forces me to kind of slow down. And I said this in my video just yesterday, but, you know, when I think I'm hungry or when I think I'm full and I'm not sure, like, I'm still not sure sometimes. Am I hungry? I don't know. I try to actively wait like 30 minutes or an hour and then like see how I'm physically feeling before deciding to eat again. And it's like baby steps, like really, like, I don't know how my body works, but I'm learning.
I love that. I mean, I'm very aware of that. And I've had hunger pretty soon after surgery, within like 8 weeks. And at first I was like, well, nobody else is hungry. Why am I hungry? This sucks. But actually now I think it's a really good thing, because I have many friends who still years post-op don't feel hunger. And so they eat on a schedule, or they eat when they feel their blood sugar dropping or whatever.
Yeah.
But so I feel lucky that I have hunger, because then I can actually tell, okay, you need to eat. It's the times when I eat when I don't feel that hunger that are an issue. And I'm kind of playing around and trying to figure this out for myself at a new phase now. And I really love that suggestion about waiting an hour. And I'm going to incorporate that into what I'm trying to do right now.
Yeah, and that was kind of a weird transition for me also, because initially post-op, I didn't really feel hunger, I would say, for the first couple of months. And so I very much felt like I had to eat on a schedule to like get in all your protein, get in all your water, time to 30 minutes, like, you know, like I was very much on a schedule. And then I don't know at what point I didn't need that anymore. And so then I like switched to, if you're not hungry, don't eat. Which to like a normal person sounds really obvious. Like I feel like I have these discoveries, and I'll like tell my husband, and he's like, duh.
Well, yeah, because because I think other people just know that stuff, and a lot of times we don't.
Yeah. I had never, like, if it was dinner time, I ate, you know, that's just the way it was. And so anyway, that has been very much a learning process for me, is to like feel what hunger really feels like. And I get it sometimes, but not always. And so just responding to that in an appropriate way, you know.
And do you eat a lot of the same things? Do you mix it up a lot?
I'm very routine. On like weekdays, I always have like the protein coffee. And then for lunch, I basically always have a chicken sausage with some kind of dip. Like dips have been the most amazing thing. And I feel like people don't talk about that too much, but I feel like you can find tons of really great dips that are pretty low in calorie, pretty low in carb. And you just need like 1 tablespoon, and you mix it with like some rotisserie chicken, or you mix it with whatever, and it makes it so good. Yeah. So I'm really all about the dips.
What are some dips that you like, just to give people some ideas if they don't?
Yeah, so there's a spinach artichoke dip that I often get at like Sam's or Costco. That's like 1 carb for 2 tablespoons, and it's only like 80 calories. So like 2 tablespoons is a lot of dip. Anyway, so I really like that one. There's a bacon cheddar ranch one. There's a raspberry chipotle one, which I think is 2 carbs for the 2 tablespoons. But again, like you don't need a whole bunch to like make whatever it is taste really good. So that's what I do for lunch. And then if I'm still hungry, what I'll do is I'll add in some vegetables. So I try to always have some, like I don't really meal prep at all in terms of like, you know, like I know what I'm going to eat, but I don't like pack all my things in advance and stuff, except I do try to always have like some kind of roasted vegetable, either like zucchini or broccoli or cauliflower, on hand in case hunger strikes, because like in that moment, like you need it right that second. So in the afternoons, if I'm still hungry, I'll do some kind of vegetable. And then when I get home for dinner, usually some kind of seafood. I really, I don't know if it's just because I'm from New Orleans or because I like seafood, but my diet is very like seafood heavy. So salmon or shrimp or scallops or lobster or whatever for dinner, and maybe vegetables if I'm still hungry. So that's kind of a typical day. That's like every day.
Everybody's loving the dips, and they're offering some other ones. Buffalo chicken dip, Trader Joe's avocado dip. I like the tzatziki. I don't know how to say it. Tzatziki from Trader Joe's too. Garlic dip from TJ and their individual guacamole. I'm getting hungry. What about for snacks?
So like I said, I try to stick to vegetables, but I do also really love nuts of all kind. So, when things go haywire for me, it's usually nut related. You know, because I feel like every week I fall into this trap of like, should I buy the prepackaged 100-calorie pack of the cashews, or should I just buy the big tub and package it out myself? And the rest is history, right? So I really like cashews. I like almonds, and I really like nut butters as well. Same thing, if I should get the jar or if I should get the little packets. And with the nut butters, the little packets are harder to find. So that is my weakness. I will go to a jar of almond butter with a spoon and just like go at it, and that's not good. But I mean, there are worse things. But when I snack, I try to stick to vegetables. Otherwise, I go to nuts, and it's kind of a slippery slope for me.
Because I'm trying to scroll the chat as we're going. And I thought of another community celebration. Joby Red Funny Girl got married.
Oh,
and so congratulations to you. And did I, I'm really behind on videos, but are you pregnant too? Can you let us know that? And because I think you said that on the video, or maybe I totally misread it. But anyway, I digress. Okay, my favorite topic, as everybody knows, is the mental mind fucks that follow weight loss surgery.
Yeah.
So there was one video you made in particular that really resonated with me, and it was a while ago and I couldn't find it today. So tell me, what are your thoughts on that, and what have those been for you, and how have you dealt with them? In 5 seconds or less. No, it's like a huge topic and we only have 15 minutes left.
Yeah, no, that is tough. I think the biggest thing has been kind of redefining myself as, so my big crisis moment was oh my God, am I pretty? And I don't, I'm not fishing for compliments and whatever, but having a moment of if I saw myself as a stranger, I would think I was pretty. And that had never really happened to me before. And my identity had always been so grounded in I'm smart, and I'm really into my studies and I'm really into academics and my career is progressing so great. And all of these things that were quantifiable on paper. And that was what I was good at. And I had also decided that smart and pretty were opposite ends of the spectrum. And so all these really pretty girls, well, they were blonde and the big boobs and they were ditzy and obviously they were stupid, I had just decided that because I couldn't have both, and if you're really smart, it's okay that you're not pretty because you don't care about superficial things and whatever, I had really put that in my own head. Partially, as I think society tells us some of those things, but also partially to make myself feel better, right? And so when I had this moment of oh my God, am I pretty? Does that mean I'm not smart? Does that mean people won't take me seriously? Does that mean I have to be feminine? Does it mean I have to care about my clothes? Do I have to put on makeup? Do I have to, do stereotypically feminine things, which I had always kind of been okay with not doing? So that was really hard for me.
Well, it's just it's your whole identity. I mean, and you're relatively young. So, I mean, relatively, but it's your whole identity and it's throwing it all into question. And so what did you figure out? And how did you figure it? Are you seeing a therapist? I'm
not.
Okay.
I'm not. And I've thought about it, but not yet. So when my dad was sick with cancer, I did go to a therapist and I had a really terrible experience and that kind of turned me off to it. And I've talked to Monica and many other people about this. And obviously it's about finding the right one and it takes effort on both parts. And eventually I probably will, but I just haven't put forth that effort yet. But how did I get over it or whatever?
Or what did you come to? And you're still really new in this.
Yeah.
Journey and process, and it's all really new, so I don't expect that you have it all figured out, but I just mean, where are you at with it now?
Well, when I had this crisis, I was okay, certainly there are women in the world who are beautiful and smart. Let me find one. So I went, yeah, exactly. There are tons. So I went to a college professor that I had stayed friends with throughout the years. And she's this amazingly incredible woman. She taught this class that I took called Witches and Bitches. And it was just a survey of modern feminism. But we read, we studied Madonna and Lady Gaga, and we read Wicked, and we also studied ancient Egyptian goddesses and all this stuff, right? It was a great class. And we became friends that semester and continued to be friends. And so I called her and I was you have got to tell me because you're an incredibly intellectual, academic, well-respected woman in the university system. And you're also freaking gorgeous, and you really care about fashion, and she looks like she just came off the runway at all times. How does that fit in your brain? Please explain this to me. And we had a really long talk, which was great. But basically what she said is that your appearance and pride in your appearance is just one of many things. And again, when I say this, it just sounds so freaking obvious, but it's just one of many things that are one of your tools in your arsenal, one of the things that you present as yourself. So as you present your intellect, as you present your work experience or life experience, you also present your appearance. And it's okay to take pride in that. In fact, you should. And that really resonated with me, that like, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. And I realize I'm very much like an all or nothing kind of person, but like, it doesn't have to be one end of the spectrum or the other, but like having an appearance that you can take pride in, and not just the makeup and hair and your clothing, but also like a strong body and like a body that is clearly well cared for. That's something that says something about you as a person, in the same way that speaking well does, in the same way that like having an interesting history does, right? So that's just like one of many facets of someone's personality, and it's okay to include that.
So how has how you present yourself in the world changed as you sort of have these realizations or been thinking about this stuff? Or has it? I mean, maybe it hasn't, but
no, it kind of, yeah, it has. And I had this weird moment. I had this other coworker friend that I was really close with, who she and I were always like super ambitious in our careers. And like every single year we'd like go for the promotion and we'd get the job and we'd do this, you know, like, and I've been in my current job for a year and a half, almost 2 years now. And she has since moved on to another job. And she you know, I met with her to like congratulate her about her new job. And she came and she asked me, so like, what jobs are you looking at now? And I was like, I'm not looking at new jobs. And she was just like shocked, because that's so unlike me. And the fact that she was shocked really surprised me, because I realized that that was a big shift in my personality that I hadn't even noticed was happening. I have in the past year and a half become less aggressive in my career. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, because I have a job I really love. And it's okay to like embrace that. And it's okay to be comfortable with where I am. And I think, like I said before, it's all related, right? But like the fact that I was so aggressive in progressing my career, I think was in a way maybe compensating for my appearance, or like, you know, and so it's weird that being okay with the way I look physically kind of also translated into like being okay with where I was in my career, and like just like being okay with my life. Like I hadn't even noticed that was happening, and it happened at the same time. And so that has been a shift in me, and I'm still trying to reconcile that, because like, does that mean I'm no longer like CEO material? You know, like what does that mean about me? As like, am I just a complacent corporate drone now? Who am I? Like, who am I? And so I'm still kind of dealing through that, but I do really love the job I have. And I think that should be the first question I ask myself. Like, am I happy in the job I have? If yes, carry on. If no, change something. So, yeah, that shift has affected me in ways I didn't even realize.
You know, that's interesting, because I saw a big change in, well, primarily in like how I was like all work, all my son, all work, all the time. And there was a point where I found that it's like, you know, not giving 12 hours a day when you're being paid for 4, because I'm a consultant, is okay. And it's okay to have, you know, a more balanced life. But when you said that, something occurred to me that I hadn't thought of before, which was maybe that was for me personally, maybe the striving from a career perspective was giving me something to talk to and to deal with other people who are around me, so it wouldn't focus back on my weight. Yeah. And that I had a little less need to do that or to overachieve in that area, and I could be happy with where I was. That left me open to have time to do other things and relationships and travel, instead of just working all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, at least before, I felt like my weight was not part of my control. I was just the fat girl and that was it. But my career was, you know, so that was something I could like be proud of and work on and like have measurable accomplishments and, like you said, talk about or whatever, like this is what I've achieved, you know. And I think we always seek ability to control aspects of our life, obviously. And so like, yeah, I'm with you. I think that's absolutely related.
We only have like 5 more minutes and we haven't talked about like hardly anything. Let me really quickly ask you if your relationships with your husband, your family, or anything has changed as a result of your weight loss.
The quick answer is no. The longer answer is my relationship with my husband is always changing and always getting better and always progressing. And it's hard to separate out like, oh, it's just because I've lost weight, you know, like we're relatively newlywed. Like we're going to be 5 years in March. And so like, I feel like we're still growing together as a couple for many reasons, not just because of my weight. So no.
Okay. And friendships, no.
No.
You said you touched on it. And I love that you were in your best friend's wedding and he was a guy. That was very cool.
Yeah.
And I just lost my train of thought again. What do you want to say that we haven't talked about already? Since I had a question right on the tip of my tongue and I totally lost it.
I want to say, do you like my earrings? Esther gave me these.
I love your earrings. Let's see your nail polish.
Oh.
That looks lovely too. And I had it and I just lost it again. What is wrong with me? Okay, you said earrings. Oh, I know what I was going to ask you. Okay. So, and you said Esther, and that's right. Okay. So how do you feel particularly in that you're kind of in the closet, you are in the closet about your surgery. How do you feel like YouTube, Instagram, and all that has supported your process?
Oh my God, tremendously. I feel like, break out the violins. I feel like a lot of my life I have felt kind of alone in a lot of ways. And not always bad, but I feel like I've always lived a very like independent, solitary kind of life. I'm an only child. I didn't really have a whole lot of friends growing up due to many aforementioned reasons. And I feel like I've always kind of figured things out on my own. And it is so nice and so wonderful and comforting and reassuring to be in this community of people who are like you, who have all had the same experiences. Generally speaking, we've, all come from generally kind of the same place, and we kind of all got to the same place, and we're kind of all going in the same direction. And I've never experienced this kind of community and friendship before. And it's tremendous. I absolutely love it. I love being able to, like I said, meet people in the community. Like if I can go, I will go. And, it's very new to me to have friends like this, and like being able to like text people and, oh my God, what did you think? And did you see this thing? And it's incredible. And it's, the wonders of the internet, right? That you can find people who are like you and build that tribe for yourself. So yeah, it's been incredible.
Yeah. And I would encourage people, even if you don't feel like making videos, participate, comment. Cause a lot of times people ask me that, how do you make friends within the community? Yeah, and I think we have a lot of similarities, and that's kind of how I was too. I was always independent. I have to do it myself. I never felt comfortable asking anybody for help. And I went into this thinking I'm doing this all by myself. And then I found for the first time the value of having a supportive community and how much, and I don't think I could have gotten to where I am without the friends that I've made through this process. And people ask me a lot, well, if you don't want to make videos, how do you make friends within the community? And I think you comment there. I mean, a couple of my closest friends, like either didn't make videos or they made videos, but they were at a different point in the process than I was. So I didn't watch them. The only way I got to know them is because they either showed up in person to meet me or they like sort of stalked me and made a lot of comments. And I realized, oh, this is a person who is like me. Yeah. And get out and meet them and get out and ask me. There has never been a time, I don't think, when I haven't been somewhere and somebody wanted to meet. And if I could, I hadn't, because I love it. I was supposed to meet somebody this week and I had to cancel. And it killed me because it was somebody who I don't think make videos, who I didn't know, but who had followed and commented for a long time. And she travels here a lot. So hopefully I will meet her soon. But it is it's such a wonderful experience. And I don't feel like I made deep friendships until I met people in person. I mean, I did have, commenting and, stuff, but not until I actually met people in person that those friendships developed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I very much started making videos thinking that I was just going to be like giving back. And I didn't realize how much I would be also helping myself. I wasn't, some people will like go and like binge watch every single person they can find. And that wasn't me, right? I stuck to like a couple people I really loved. From the beginning, I always watched Jane, Drea, Perforce, and Chemistry Queen. Those are like my four. And I was like so obsessed with them. I'm not obsessed in a bad way, but like I watched all their videos and stuff. And I just felt like I gained so much pre-op and at the beginning of my surgery process from watching their videos. I felt overwhelming sense of gratitude to them that I felt like I needed to give back to the community. And so that's why I started making videos, was just in hopes that maybe somebody else would see my videos and feel like they were supported and not alone, and just informational even. And I didn't realize how much the process would benefit me too. And, being able to talk through things and the comments and making friends and having the accountability piece and having something to look back on, it's just been really great. And so for anybody who's new, or even if you're not new, I always recommend documenting your journey either on YouTube or Instagram or wherever, because it really helps other people, but it helps you a lot, maybe more than you would realize.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here. And I want to do my quick inside the weight loss studio questions with you, and then we're going to sign off. So what's your favorite word?
Oh God, I'm so bad at this.
I almost forgot. Somebody reminded me. I'm out of habit.
Okay, favorite word, sushi.
Okay, what's your least favorite word?
Moist.
Why does everybody hate that word so much? Moist has a bad rap, man. Moist is a good thing. Tanya's mouth is more moist now that she's taping it shut. Okay.
Gotta tape our mouth shut.
Sorry. What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Learning something new.
What turns you off?
People who are stuck in their ways, unwilling to consider other ideas.
What's your favorite curse word?
F.
What sound or noise do you love?
I love it when my kitten meows. I have a new kitten.
Aww,
and
you have a new one?
Well, the one, but
okay.
He's still new to me, and he like wakes us up with meows in the morning, and it's the cutest thing. I love hearing his little meows.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Okay, so I hate when people's computers ding at them all day. Like we have this like inner office chat, and like some people leave it on, and it like ding, ding, ding all day long. Like turn that shit off. It's the worst. Yeah, that drives me crazy.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Profession?
Mm-hmm.
I would love something in linguistics, like being a translator. I love studying foreign languages, and initially that's actually what I thought I was going to do. So if I had to pick a second career, it would be translator.
What profession would you not like to do?
Anything food service related, unfortunately.
If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Come hang out with your dad.
Okay. Yes. All right. Well, Joe is pregnant, so congratulations to Joe. That's awesome. I have so loved hanging out with you and with everybody.
Too. Thanks so much for inviting me.
With everybody on chat, it was really fun. I missed you guys, and we'll be back in a month. All right, you guys have a great week, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Much.
Okay,
thanks.
bye.
Bye.